Hello and welcome. This is QTV News and I am Mamudu Gajaga. Thank you for joining us. We are broadcasting from our studios on Caraba Avenue. And first, a look at our news headlines. The Gambia's Vice President Badara Alieu Diouf on Tuesday called for coordinated efforts and approaches to prevent and combat the scourge of terrorism. The UN Assistant Secretary General and UNDP Regional Director for Africa, Ahuna Ezien Konwa, visited the oxygen plant at Ndemban Clinic in Bakau on Tuesday as part of a series of engagements to UNDP project and intervention areas. A one-day forum on the progress of security sector reform SSR in the Gambia was organized on Wednesday by DICAF and partners. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, in collaboration with the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, launched a project on Tuesday which hopes to address the causes of instability and conflict in border communities between the Gambia and Senegal. A fire outbreak, that is, fire at a dump site in Kotu on Tuesday, caused panic in the community and forced some families to evacuate their homes due to toxic smoke burning from used car tires. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The Gambia's Vice President Badara Alieu Diouf on Tuesday called for coordinated efforts and approaches to prevent and combat the scourge of terrorism activities. He made the call during the opening of a four-day meeting of the Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa, CISA, West Africa, being hosted by the State Intelligence Service of the Gambia. Alieu Cisse was there and he now reports.
It is the second high-level meeting hosted by the State Intelligence Service of the Gambia under the theme, Amid Regional Volatility, the need for close capacity gaps and enhanced coordination to effectively counter terrorism in West Africa and Sahel region. The sub-regional meeting in Banjul is in preparation for the continental meeting of CISA. Security chiefs from within the ECOWAS sub-region and beyond, religious leaders, cabinet ministers, leaders of political parties, local government authorities, traditional leaders and civil society organizations attend the opening of the meeting. Deputizing for President Barrow, Badara Alieu Diouf, Vice President of the Gambia, said the Gambia attaches high importance to the need for more cooperation in the fight against terrorism. He says the situation faced in the sub-region requires coordinated efforts to prevent and combat.
Despite the challenging context due to our regional volatilities, we can only win this long and painful fight against terrorism and violent extremism if we cooperate and coordinate. To do so, we must collectively, as a region and individual states, come up with policies and strategies to address the root causes of the challenges that impact on our shared peace and security.
Usman Sow, Director General of the State Intelligence Service of the Gambia, while renewing his commitment to repositioning the SIS as a credible intelligence service, recognized the theme of the meeting as apt for a region faced with extremism and terrorism security threats.
The issue of terrorism before us today are increasing, the scourge of which seeks to destroy, fragment and break down societies along with the very concept of nation states.
With an increase in organized transnational crimes and proliferation of arms, particularly in the sub-region, Zainab Ali Kotoko, Executive Secretary of CISA, Mustafa Marwan, Representative of CISA Chairman, Dr. Isaac Armstrong of the ECOWAS Commission, and Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, Head of Nigeria's State Intelligence Service, HAP delegates will use the meeting to dialogue and share experience to counter terrorism through collaboration.
In transnational organized crimes in recent times is leading to the existence of sophisticated networks and cooperation between terror and criminal groups.
According to Global Terrorism Index 2022, Sub-Saharan Africa has so far accounted for 48% of global terrorism deaths.
Our region is indeed experiencing volatilities of a complex nature, which require enhanced coordination based on well-thought-out strategies to be addressed.
Chief Guest of Honor Abu Ali of the Saudi Arabia General Intelligence Presidency is delighted at the invitation extended to him as he advocates a united front against anything that serves as an obstacle to peace and security.
We can come over obstacles if we put our heads into it and hands together.
During the meeting, there will be a panel of expert sessions where delegates will discuss the theme of the meeting. There will also be country presentations. CISA was formed in 2004 to address security challenges in Africa. It was conceived as a platform to discuss and adopt strategies towards common security challenges among intelligence services and security organizations in Africa. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The UN Assistant Secretary General and UNDP Regional Director for Africa, Ahuna Ezie-Konwa, visited the oxygen plant at Ndemban Clinic in Bakau on Tuesday as part of our series of engagements to UNDP project and intervention areas. Julden Jai reports.
Her visit presents an opportunity to interact with key partners, including government, UNDP beneficiaries, the United Nations country team, as well as staff, to share the UNDP's African vision and provide updates on ongoing reforms. Her visit will also help to inform the future of development in the Gambia, vice versa, the transitional process in this context of global shocks, health, climate, as well as the crisis at global and regional levels. Ms. Ahuna Ezie-Konwa, UN Assistant Secretary General and UNDP Regional Director for Africa, says the UNDP got involved in this project as they've realized the importance of health outcomes in the achievements of development aspirations.
UNDP was able to do was just the seed money that got the whole ecosystem going, but then it needed the heavyweight financiers like the World Bank to come in to make it happen. So I think going forward, we need to start asking ourselves, how do we connect these dots in the way we accompany a country like Gambia to its development? How do we use this experience also to expand services in health across the country, not just in capitals?
Ms. Ezie-Konwa says patients should not pay for receiving oxygen because it is supposed to be free.
Oxygen is supposed to be free. So I hope that part of this support also frees particularly the most vulnerable and the poor from having to worry about where they're going to get money to let their relatives breathe. And I think you can continue to count on our support as a system. But also I want to acknowledge the government's role here because, we can only build on a foundation that exists.
Ms. Ezie-Konwa stated that the Gambia is on the right track in terms of the health sector reforms.
In the health sector, this is an example of being on the right track, I would say. That, a gap was identified. The government took the lead and partners came around to support in a concrete way the installation of a life-saving facility. And the question now is, first of all, how do you ensure that this is maintained and it is serving the population as it is meant to do? So the governance of the system has to be taken care of.
Dr. Mustafa Bitey, the Director of Health Services, spoke of the importance of the oxygen plant at the Ndemban Clinic.
We have now 4 in country and we have enough plants to be able to produce all the oxygen we need. But we have 2 that are functional now. That's this one, which is a big one. We can produce up to 136 cylinders per day. And we have the other one which can produce, I think, less than 50 per day. So together it might be more than 200. Then you have another 2 which are not yet installed, but they are in country. One is in EFSTH and the other one in Bansang. So this is going to help us to provide the oxygen that we need, and it's medical grade, and it will be free to the patients.
For the first time in the Gambia, medical oxygen is being generated from oxygen plants in Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, Ndemban Clinic, and Bansang. For QTV News, I am Julde Njai.
A one-day forum on the progress of security sector reform SSR in the Gambia was on Wednesday organized by DICAF and partners. The SSR was launched in 2017 after the 2016 presidential election that ended Yahya Jammeh's authoritarian regime. More in this story.
This one-day conference is about emphasizing efficiency, effectiveness and accountability in the Gambia Police Force and the Gambia Immigration Department. The two are key stakeholders for achieving real and sustainable security sector reform. DICAF, the Geneva Center for Security Sector Governance, seeks to enable lasting peace and sustainable development. This was triggered by the newfound democracy ushered in after ending 22 years of dictatorship and authoritarian rule. This is how the Interior Minister, who was represented by the Director General of the Gambia Immigration Department, puts it.
The Gambia underwent an authoritarian regime, and the desire to shift from this regime to a state-centric to human security, human rights, and most importantly to democracy. As a democratic nation, the Gambia government is committed to enhancing the accountability of its security establishments for a prosperous Gambia.
Corrado Pampaloni, EU ambassador to the Gambia, promised that the European Union will stand by the Gambia on all reforms on the path of democracy, rule of law, and national reconciliation. He was also sensitive to the precarious nature of nurturing and maintaining peace.
In doing so, enhance the public confidence in the security sector in the Gambia. The Gambia government took a bold move to launch a very broad reform agenda, of which security sector reform is a crucial and paramount component. The government demonstrated an impressive commitment from the beginning. However, sustaining this momentum proves challenging. The constitutional reform process, the transitional justice process, and SSR are very much interlinked, but we believe we can all do more to better coordinate the three processes. The failure of the draft constitution was a great setback for SSR, twice. And we call on the government to continue their commitment to both these reforms.
On what and how far and wide his office works in the Gambia, Ken Isaac, the DICAF country chief, enumerated the different areas they work in and support.
Engagement has included strategic support to the Office of National Security, supporting legal reform, promoting linkages between security sector reform and constitutional reform, or strengthening external oversight of the security sector. DICAF also undertook in-depth baseline assessments to inform the reform agenda, leading to an institutional human resources assessment of key security institutions.
According to a media release by its office, since 2021, DICAF have focused on implementing reform of the Gambia Police Force and the Gambia Immigration Department by improving their effectiveness, efficiency, and accountability. This is about security reform in the Gambia, and today what they're going to be doing is to take stock of what has happened so far from the year 2017, when security reform in the Gambia was necessitated by the election of President Adama Barrow after 22 years of dictatorship of former President Yahya Jammeh. Here at Kairaba Conference Center in Bijilo, I am Suleiman Dabo.
From that report by Suleiman Dabo, it takes us to a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
Ken du ko jeex li ko waral mooy QTV ak Marketplace dañoo tàmm di won réew mi li nga xamante ne mooy quality fashion tegu ci temps xew ci jamono neex a xool lool ma tàmm ci Marketplace day jël caméramanam dugg ci biir réew mi seet li nga xamante ne sunuy xale yi réew dañu ko bëgg ndax ñoom dañoo coquette lool seet li gën te gën a gën ñu indil leen ko fii ci biir QTV ngeen di ko seetaan ci àdduna wërngal këpp man namatuma flight jam de li ko waral mooy lépp lu ma daan wuti bitim réew mu ngi fii ci biir réew mi waaye danga koo bëgg a gis danga koo bëgg a xam danga naan jàkk Market Marketplace dafa fas yéene ñëwaat 2022 bii ànd ak QTV nee nañ kee ngay daxee boo ko mënu la jot li ci sa loxo nga koy sànni moo waral QTV bëgg a sànni seeni programme seeni product yéen teelo yi yéen designers yi ci biir Marketplace boo sànnee day dal de bëgg ngaa sànni da nga jël seeni nomba nga jokkoo ak ñoom ñu fekk si la ci sa diiwaan wane la lu coquette li nga am pour réew mi 324 4444 ak Marketplace dama ciy toogee nu ma neexee ndax lépp lu ma fay gis day tëgg sa bëm.
Under the auspices of the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, the Muslim World League, in collaboration with the Gambia government, will host the Conference of African Religious Ministers and Ulamas on the 6th of December 2022. The International Islamic Conference will bring together ministers of religious affairs, leading Islamic scholars, policymakers, youths, community leaders across Africa to discuss and advance Islamic values that promote peace and tolerance. Let's come together and welcome our brothers and sisters in keeping with our trademark hospitality as the smiling coast of Africa. This message is brought to you by the ministry responsible for religious affairs in collaboration with the Gambia OIC Secretariat.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, in collaboration with the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, launched a project on Tuesday which hopes to address the causes of instability and conflict in border communities between the Gambia and Senegal. Usman G. Dabo attended the launch and filed in this report.
The project is called Supporting Cross-Border Cooperation for Community Resilience and Social Cohesion in the Gambia and Senegal, and is funded by the United Nations through its Peace Building Fund. The objective of the $3.8 million project includes addressing weak border management practices which fuel mistrust between border authorities and communities. The project also seeks to support the two governments in fighting illegal exploitation of natural resources, smuggling of migrants, arms, timber, and drugs, as well as trafficking in persons. Salimata E. Toure, the Secretary General and Head of Civil Service, said the project will be beneficial to both the Gambia and Senegal.
The project will adopt an integrated approach through, firstly, strengthening cross-border cooperation between the border authorities and the communities for peaceful coexistence. Secondly, promoting community and management practices of natural resources, and thirdly, increasing community resilience through support for alternative livelihoods options for improved social cohesion. Today, as key stakeholders in our joint efforts to build and sustain peace, which is necessary not only once conflict has broken up, but long beforehand, through preventive conflict and addressing its root causes.
The Cross-Border Steering Committee will serve as a platform for both countries to collaboratively monitor and provide much-needed technical guidance in the implementation of the project. Serafin Wakana is the UN Resident Coordinator in the Gambia.
These challenges will be addressed in short and long term in close alignment with our shared development aspirations. The project intends to address these challenges in a three-pronged integrated approach through strengthening cross-border cooperation between the border authorities and communities to promote peaceful coexistence, strengthening the capacity of border communities to manage natural resources in a sustainable manner, and increasing community resilience through support for alternative livelihoods options for improved social cohesion.
The project also links to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the African Union's Agenda 2063, as well as the global impact for safe, orderly, and regular migration, to which both the Gambia and Senegal are signatories. Here is Serafin Wakana again.
Which are geared toward ending poverty, reducing hunger, promoting gender equality, advancing climate action, building peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, and strengthening partnerships.
Among the speakers at the event are Major General Mbaye Cissé, Senegalese Chief of Staff, Office of the President, and Ami Gueye, Office of the UN Resident Coordinator in Senegal, who expressed similar views to other speakers about the importance of this project for both countries. For QTV News, Usman G. Dabo.
A fire at a dump site in Kotu on Tuesday has caused panic in the community, forcing some to evacuate due to toxic smoke from burning used car tires at the dump site. Residents have blamed the KMC for dumping the tires at the dump site. Lena E. Igwenyiba reports.
A plume of smoke rising into the sky could be seen from miles away. On arrival at the scene, the fire and rescue services were there to help extinguish off the inferno. Hadiba, an aggrieved resident, explains the situation.
KMC put tires inside this hole, big hole. It takes them a month plus to put these tires here. Every day they would bring dozens of trucks to put them here. And they say to us that when they put the trucks there, the tires there, they will solve the problem by putting sand there and other things. But when they were done with what they did, they left the place like that. It's like every 1 or 2 weeks we have to fill fire here. We, the residents of this place, we have to fetch water from our taps and come and rescue ourselves here. If they knew that they put the tires here, they will not solve what they're supposed to. They should have left it where it was. Or they make their representative sit down here and then solve the problem. Guard the place until when they are done of their action, then they can leave. But you cannot leave this thing for us here. We, the residents here, suffering every day. We can't even sleep, thinking that at any time there will be fire outbreak in our place.
Mariama Seidi, another resident of Kotu, points the finger at KMC. KMC brought the tires here. Honestly, they did. They also brought security guards here. They're the ones and no one else. The security guards said they were from KMC. Laming Tombong Jaju, the councillor for Manjai and Kotu, blames the fire on illegal dumping of waste and not the used car tires.
It happened coincidentally because of what the attitude of my people. Because of what we are seeing is the attitude of the entire municipality. People used to create illegal dump site, dump their waste, leaving the compactor truck that are going around the municipality every day, and then they want the easier way of disposing their waste.
Bubakar Bari, another resident, also explains what happened when the tires were brought there.
I asked them and they said KMC sent them. I told them that this place is not meant for dumping tires. And they said KMC sent them and the tires will be covered with sand. And they will deploy security guards here. They should investigate this matter before we act.
Farmera Fofana, a councillor representing farmers at KMC, said they have done everything possible to prevent this disaster from occurring. Fofana expressed disappointment over the incident and reiterated that they will ensure a similar incident does not occur in the future.
This situation is unfortunate and the mayor regret it, KMC regret it, we don't want it, but, and we had tried our level best not this situation not to happen, but it happens. So all hands on deck for it not to happen again, and we will try our level best for it not to happen again.
Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Gwenyiba.
Kanifing General Hospital received 2 ambulances and medical equipment worth $6 million on Monday from a Dutch organization stationed in Voer Samen, Gambia. Usman G. Dabo attended the handing over and filed in this report.
After a weeks-long journey by land from the Netherlands across the Sahara Desert, the Stitching Semen Voer Gambia Foundation arrived in the Gambia with the life-saving vehicles and equipment. The items include incubators, scanning machines, ultrasound machines, gloves, among other valuables. Martin Zestra, the chairperson of the Stitching Semen Voer Gambia, explains how his foundation gathered the funds from the Netherlands to the Gambia to support Gambia's healthcare system.
In this period, in these months we prepared this trip, we almost collected $6 million. $6 million to complete this project is 100,000 euros. So we had to do a lot of things for it. We had to do a lot of things. We built parties that people came and donate money. We took music evenings. We collected money by companies. We almost had meetings 2 times a week beside our jobs to create this project. We grow as one group together. And then we started, 2.5 weeks ago, we started this trip with 3 brand new ambulances. And it was a very special trip because it was not only the ambulances we took. We have the incubators, the AEDs, we have the infubators, and we have so many equipment, expensive equipment, and we had to go through these countries.
Nafi Bari, the Deputy Chairperson of Kanifing General Hospital's Management Board, and Babukar Sen, the Administrator at the Kanifing General Hospital, commended the Dutch Foundation for supporting the hospital.
This, I am told, is the 3rd intervention that you're doing for the Serekunda General Hospital. But this particular help that you have given, that is giving an ambulance that is fully equipped, is highly commendable. We have one ambulance that is running, but it's not an equipped ambulance, and most of the time they refer to Riders for Health that has a pool of ambulances to help them carry out the needs of an ambulance.
That was the second promise met. The third promise was that they will bring an ambulance. And yes, indeed, the ambulance has arrived. And today, we are all celebrating the arrival of this ambulance.
Delighted staff at the hospital inspected the ambulances and equipment, and the keys were handed over to Nafi Bari, the Deputy Chairperson of the hospital's Management Board. Stitched in Semenvo, Gambia was founded in 2010 by a group of people in Holland. In the past, the foundation has also provided ambulances to other communities and implemented various programs in the Gambia, including fencing women's gardens, building medical posts, residence for doctors, waiting rooms at health facilities, and children's playing grounds at vulnerable communities in the Gambia, among other initiatives. For QTV News, Usman G. Dabo.
Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of QTV News. Thank you very much for watching, but don't forget to join us at 10 for another bulletin.